everybody, welcome back. So we are going through the digestive system, and so this is the general anatomy continued. And I'm Elisa. So the general anatomy, we started talking already about the submucosa. So let's get into it a little bit more. So what this is like, it's a thicker layer of connective tissue, and it's holding it all together. It's containing also ways we can transport some of these nutrients to and fro that area of the digestive system. So, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, as well as nerve plexi, are all in these areas where we also have our mucus secreting glands. And so they do push lubricating mucus into the lumen as well. So, the malt, which again is part of the lymphatic system, extends into the submucosa and into some parts of the GI tract. Muscularis externa. So these are the two layers of opposite kind of like running muscle, right, along the internal, external component of the outer layer of the alimentary canal, especially think this is intestines, think large intestine, small intestines, all that good stuff. So the inner circular layer can get pretty thick and it can actually form valves, which we refer to as sphincters, which can or act as doors to the rest of the digestive tract. And what they're doing is they're working to regulate the passage of the material through the digestive tract, right? Or like that, they keep food in the stomach, basically. So you don't want to overeat because you can actually push out or distend some of these valves and sphincters. The outer longitudinal layer is responsible for the motility that propels that food through the canal and in and out. The serosa, again, is a supportive type tissue. It's generally an areolar tissue um, of the mesothelium. So it's going to start kind of holding things in place and protecting this like very busy and high motion part of the body, about 3 to 4 centimeters uh, at the bottom of the esophagus, and it ends right before the rectum proper. Adventitia is fibrous connective tissue layer that binds and blends the pharynx and most of the esophagus and the rectum to the adjacent connective tissue of all of the other organs. So it's like what's really holding everything in place. Okay, so let's take a look really quick at the layers of the digestive tract. So this is kind of an important idea. Like, see how it's all like bumpy and ridgy right here? And then the inside is always, again, we call the lumen, right? So that's like the inside part of a canal or tube. So it's bent and ridged because it allows for expansion, contraction, but moreover, just more surface area for the food bolus to kind of push over for us to absorb more from the particular food bolus as well. Um, so what this is this is like kind of going right into the stomach. So here's the diaphragm right here, this large muscle. So esophageal hiatus is where we're coming in through. The esophagus is kind of descending through this part of the diaphragm. Inside here we have the enteric nervous system, which is going to control a lot of this, the motion, highly sensory. The digestive system is. So, like a really high percentage of your neurotransmitters are used here. So before you had a brain, your stomach was basically your brain. And they say that there's about enough neurons and neural tissues to make the equivalent of a cat brain out of your stomach. So it's, very highly innervated, very complex. Um, so there are a couple layers to it. So the myenteric, so we're thinking muscle right here. So myenteric plexus, submucosal plexus. It's going to be right here in the second layer right here, as well as the parasympathetic ganglion. So coming through here, fight or flight, right? Let's see here. That's it for that. So let's go through the mucosa. So the mucosa is going to be closest to the food bolus, closest to the internal point of the digestive tract. So it's going to be primarily made of a few different cell types, but in this case we have stratified squamous epithelium so that we can shed those layers as the food bolus passes through. Lamina propria is keeping everything connected, right, and allowing for us to like kind of hook up to the vasculature and all that good stuff. And then the muscularis mucosae, which is different from the rest of the muscle layers in that it's a little bit thinner, like a tiny faint like feather, as you can see, kind of layer right here. The submucosa itself, esophageal gland, going to be teeny tiny little glands here, secretings. Muscularis externa is going to have an inner and an outer layer, and those are like the big muscle movers, as you can see here. Those are big. And those are connecting all together by the serosa. So you can see a layer of the serosa pulling away here, connecting this part of the esophagus to where it needs to be located to in the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavities. Okay, looks like that's it for this one, and we'll be back in just a little bit with a little bit more. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you're out there having a great day.